Hello, Internet. I hope you're excited for this video. I really am. I'm excited because we are going to be building a Netflix clone using the same database management system that the software engineers over there actually use. That's right. We're going to be using Datastax, which is built on Apache Cassandra and is Netflix database management tool of choice. And we have an actual Netflix software engineer that is here to review our app. And not only that, we're going to be using the GraphQL API to communicate with our database. If you are new to GraphQL, this is the perfect video for you, as I'm going to be taking you through step by step into how to create tables and make queries. We are also going to learn how to use pagination and slicing. Pagination, in a nutshell, is a way for you to get data page by page instead of getting it all at once, similar to this that we will be building in our app. GraphQL essentially enables you to get the fields you need from your data graph without any unnecessary overhead. This helps keep network responses small and fast. Think of it like this. Say we had this query right here. Now, if we had loads of movies, this would literally return every single movie in our database. Do we really need all of this? Enter pagination. When a client queries a paginated list field, the server returns only a portion or page of the list element. And then we have slicing. Slicing is essentially what we are going to use in order to call as many genres as we want. So for example, when we have the page up and loaded for the first time, we're going to get 4 genres. And as we move the cursor to the bottom of our browser, we're going to get more genres that are added to that list, and more and so on. Okay, so to recap, that is a Netflix app that uses Datastax built on Apache Cassandra to store our database, and we are also going to learn about GraphQL, pagination, and slicing. Whew. But before we get going, please welcome our Netflix software engineer who will be reviewing our app for us. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Steven, and I'm excited to be here with Anya and to talk about how we do things at Netflix.
Okay, awesome. So please do stick around for that. We will be getting feedback throughout the app as we are coding along. There is a lot to cover in this tutorial. It will be a long one, but don't worry, you're in safe hands. I'm going to be taking you through absolutely everything step by step. Now, as always, before we get started, let's actually break down what we are going to build in this tutorial. We are going to start off by creating 2 tables. A table that is going to help us deal with the genres and a table that is going to help us deal with the movies. Next, we're going to get to actually adding data for the 2 tables. Once we have added all our data, it's time to start building our app. We are going to be doing this in React and using serverless functions in order to get our data using GraphQL queries. So in other words, we're going to be making a query to get all our genres, and then we're going to be mapping out those genres onto sections in our app. Next, we're going to actually populate each section with the movies for that genre with another query. And after that, we're going to be using pagination in order to fetch more and more movies when we click the next button, getting only 6 at a time. And then we're going to cover the limit part. So limiting how many genres we get and getting more or calling more if we move our cursor to the bottom of the page. And of course, styling. So doing things like using useState in order to show more information if we hover over a movie card. Okay, so I hope you're ready. I'm really excited. Let's do it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot, as it does mean that I can keep creating more content for you guys. So let's do it. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, the first thing we need to do is sign up to use a database to store all our data. And what better database to use than one that's free, of course, for beginners, but also the one that Netflix actually uses. So that is a bit of trivia for you. We're going to be using Datastax, Astra, Cassandra as a service. You don't need a credit card to sign up. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. Please do sign up. Here, of course, I'm not going to because I already have an account. So like I said, no credit card details necessary, and it's free to use for beginners. So let's do it.
So we use Cassandra a ton at Netflix. It's great for a service like Netflix that needs to be able to scale globally. And so ever since we launched into 190 countries in 2017, we need everything to work around the world all the time. And so a database like Cassandra has been really helpful to make that work and allow us to sleep at night at the same time.
I'm going to sign in just by clicking here. And this is essentially what you should see when you sign up. Now I'm going to create my first database. So I'm just going to click here and give our database a name. Let's go ahead and call it Netflix database, or Netflix clone database to be more precise. And let's just give it the key space. I don't know, Netflix. Netflix is fine. Great. Please select your provider and region. Now this is totally up to you, whichever you want to choose. And I'm just going to click Europe, Middle East, Africa, because that is where I am. And then click West Europe. And then, of course, create a database and click Continue. Ready for liftoff. Okay, so there we go. We have now created our database. It was that easy. Now I'm going to be using, this is really cool actually. So this is stuff you need to remember. We've got our cluster ID, which we're going to be using. We're going to be using a bunch of this stuff later, but for now, just be aware that my status is pending, but that's fine. I'm going to show you something cool as soon as we have this active. So I'm just going to perhaps speed this up. I'm just going to go. Okay, and we are active, so let's do it. Great. So we've got our Netflix clone database. Now, I'm going to actually use the GraphQL API. And what is so handy about Datastax is that it actually provides us the playground, like complete with it's basically just done it all for us, okay? So here we go. The GraphQL API will essentially allow us to interact with our data using the GraphQL types, queries, and mutations. So we're going to be doing this in the playground first in order to add data to our database, but then use the same queries to retrieve them, but in our app, okay? We're going to add the data in this playground that's been provided to us by Datastax. We're going to add the data through the GraphQL API, and then we're going to get it out using the same query language, but in our app. So I just had to say that twice because it might be a bit confusing to people who haven't worked with this GraphQL playground before. So, okay, what I'm going to do is just click here to open it up. Oops, I'm going to click it there and then in another window though, just so we don't have to keep going back and forward. So again, to the GraphQL API, I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to just paste it in a new tab like this. So now the first thing we need to do is make sure we get our application token and put it in the HTTP headers section at the bottom of the playground so that we can, talk to our database. So what I am going to do now is go back to the Netflix clone, and then I am just going to click on the settings, get an application token. I'm going to select a role. So let's just put admin user and generate a token. I have actually generated them before, but this is the token we need. So I'm of course going to delete this database, by the way. So please don't use my tokens. They won't exist anymore. Please do generate your own. It wouldn't really make sense for you to use mine anyway, right? Because you want to communicate with your own database rather than using mine. So in here, the HTTP headers, just where it says Cassandra token, I'm just going to paste that like so. Okay, so we can now officially communicate with our database. Okay, so just so you know, the / GraphQL schema, this is an API for exploring and creating the schema. So that is what we're going to be doing in here. And next, we're going to be looking at GraphQL / keyspace. So that's going to be our keyspace name. And this API is for querying and modifying your Cassandra tables using GraphQL fields. So just remember that when we start going. We're going to start off with the GraphQL schema first to start creating some schemas, to start creating some tables. So let's just go back. Let's go back to the connect, go back to the GraphQL API. So now that we can communicate with our database, the first thing we want to do is create 2 tables. I'm going to create a table that deals with the genres and then a table that deals with the movies. So I'm going to please do use this here as a sort of like template and guide. However, I'm just going to go in here and then delete this. Okay, so we're going to create our first table. This is how we would do it. We're going to write a mutation. So I'm going to write mutation, and in here, use reference list, create table, making sure to use camel case, create table. Okay, and in my table, I'm going to have to use, that's right, the key space name. We know that our key space name, we called it Netflix, remember? So make sure to use the same key space name that you did when creating your database. That is important. And then let's give our table name, as I've already alluded to up there. Our table name is going to be reference list. So I'm simply going to paste that as a string. If no, not exist, true. And then we want partition keys, okay? Because I want to essentially be able to filter out our movies by genre. So this is what this is going to help me do. I'm going to use the partition keys and then the name, label, and then we have to give a type. It's going to be text. We have different types, but the label is going to be text because I want to filter out the partition key is going to be the label, which is going to be text. And then we're going to have a clustering key too. So this will make a lot more sense when we actually start dealing with the database itself. And the clustering key, I'm going to actually put the name, value, type, basic, text, because that's going to be a string too. And I'm going to give it an order of ascending. Because I want these genres to be in ascending order based by the text. Okay? So this is what this is doing. I'm creating a table that's going to deal with the genres essentially. So I'm going to create that table first. I'm simply going to run it like so. And there we go. We have created something. It's called a reference list, but just know that that's going to help us deal with the genres. I want to actually create 2 tables, okay? And our next table is going to be for the movies. So once again, I'm just going to use the same sort of, I guess, logic. I'm going to write a mutation. I'm going to call it movies by genre, just to be super clear about what is essentially happening. And let's create a table. So once again, we do that. And our table is, yes, going to have a key space name. I'm just going to make sure that that's below here, though. Netflix. Our table name, which is going to be movies by genre. If no exists, true. And then we're also going to have partition keys. We're going to do it name, genre, type, basic text. And once again, the clustering keys. And our clustering keys can be name. I'm going to do it by year. And the year type is not going to be text. It's going to be an integer. So basic int order. And this time name, title. This title is going to be text. Why is it not liking this? Descending. Whoops. Type. Name, title. Yes, that's going to be text, and the order of this is going to be ascending. So just like that, once again, put that there. Okay, so we have the partition keys, we have the clustering keys. Next, we need the values as well, because the genre doesn't really need to have values, it's just the genre, right? However, the movie does need to have values. Each movie is going to have as of course it's going to be part of a genre. It's going to have a year and a title, and then it's also going to have, so these you can't really cluster with these, but it's just like data that is also attached to the movie, if you will. Type basic text. We're going to have, let's make sure to format that correctly, of course. I'm going to have a synopsis, I'm going to have a duration, which is going to be an integer. Synopsis, I should probably spell that right. Synopsis, a duration, and a thumbnail. Let's call it a thumbnail. Yeah, it's going to be more of like a like MP4, but okay, thumbnail for now. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with thumbnail. Let's just go with it. You don't have to call it thumbnail if you don't wish to. Okay, so this is looking good. Let's hit run. Wrong type, argument value, basic value, but it's not a valid basic type. Okay, what did I do here? Yes, I put this as a string. Whoops. This does not need to be strings, so just keep that in mind. It's lucky that we have error messages in our lives. And there we go. So we've now added the two tables. We added the reference list, we deal with the genres, and we've added the movies by genre. Okay, so now let's actually get to adding. So that is it. We've created the tables. The next thing we want to do is start adding the data. So let's do it. The next thing we need to do is in the GraphQL playground, we need to change the tab to now use another endpoint, essentially. We need to edit the end of this to change from system to the name of your key space that we have. Okay, so we have Netflix. We need to do that. Luckily, we can actually just take it from here as well. So we've done the table. We've created our two tables. So here we go. We don't really need to do much because the platform's provided for us, so that's really nice. So I'm going to go here and just paste this new URL that's going to take us to our key space, so just like that. And let's not forget that we also need our Cassandra token so we can communicate with our database like so. Great. So now let's get to adding some data. I'm going to do this by running another mutation like so. So we're going to do the genres first again. I'm going to insert a genre. So my mutation, I'm just going to call it insert genre like this. Genres. And then I'm going to have an action genre. So I'm going to insert reference list. Thank you very much. And value. The value of it is going to be Well, I want to give it a label because remember that is one of our partition keys. Next thing is going to be the value, and I'm just going to simply put that as action. So each reference list item that we insert is going to have a label that says genre and a value that says the value of what we're doing, right? We're inserting a genre that has the value of action. So that is how I would do it, essentially. And then I'm just going to simply put value like so. If you really want to format it a little bit better, this probably is the way to do it. Okay, so here we go. If I run this now, we have added one genre, but we need to add a few genres, right? So I'm going to do that now. We could just do them all at one time. So we've added action. We don't actually need to worry about action anymore. Let's also add anime. I'm just going to change this to anime. Add a comma here. Let's also have, got anime. Let's have award winners. I'm also going to have children. Let's give it the value of children and family. Then let's have comedies. Comedies, I spelled that correctly, hopefully. Comedies. And then perhaps just copy all of these again. Okay. Comedies. Okay, from here. And then comedies. Let's have documentaries. I hope I'm spelling all this right. Documentaries. The more data, the better, okay? Documentaries. Because it will really fill out our Netflix app. We're going to have drama too. Let's have dramas. And let's have fantasy. Fantasy. And then just a few more, I promise. Okay, so we've got quite a few there. Maybe let's just do like a tiny bit more. Let's have French. Horror, independent, music, romance, and then I'm just going to put sci-fi and thriller. So that's going to be it, I promise. I want all the data, and plus I've got it, so I might as well use it. Sci-fi, and last one, thriller. Okay, so am I ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so we have all of our genres now created. This is looking good. As you can see, it was successful. So let's carry on. We've added the genres. Now let's add the movies. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all of them again. I'm going to show you where you can get all this data because, of course, we have so many movies to add. If you can think this is just the genres, you can imagine how many movies there are, right? So we've added the genres. If you do want to actually retrieve these genres, you can do so simply. So if you did actually want to get all these genres, you would simply write this query, get all genre. I'm going to call it, why not? I can call it whatever I wish. And then get the reference list, and then values. And I just want to get the value. Okay, so the value, as we know, is what we called each genre, like action or something. So then, of course, we need to search for it by value, label, genre. So there we go. That's how we can retrieve all the genres that we've just created so we can see what's in our reference list. So they are all there. Great. Okay. Also, once again, make sure that you are in the Netflix key space name. If you're not, then of course that won't work. Make sure you are in the key space name of Netflix. Great. Now let's create our first movie. So once again, I'm going to write mutation and let's call it insert movies. And the first movie that I want to create is Inception. So that's what I'm going to call it. And then I need to use insert movie by genre. And then let's get up some. We need to put the value in. And I'm going to say the genre for Inception is sci-fi. The year is going to be 2010. That's the release date. The title of it is, of course, Inception as a string. Inception. Like so. Let's make it capital. The synopsis is going to be, I don't know, Cobb steals information from his targets by entering their dreams. Woo. Okay. Let's give it a duration of 1 minutes. I have made that up. And the thumbnail. Okay, now the thumbnail is I'm going to store all of my thumbnails. So they're going to be MP4 files on Imager. Please feel free to store them wherever you want. But I think this is quite nice. And it just means that you can use them because I'm going to make it public as well. So this is what I am going to do.
So, yeah, so that's great. And we do basically that at Netflix. We don't provide the video files right inline like through GraphQL. We provide URLs to the files, and then we store the files on we call it a CDN, a content distribution network. And so there's computers that Netflix ships all over the world to your local internet provider. So down the street at your internet provider, they probably have one of Netflix's servers sitting there loaded up with Netflix movies. And so our special URL is going to be pointing you to the closest server that can give you your movie.
Here are just some of the MP4s that I've stored on Imager. I'm going to give you the links so you can have all of them. Check it out. I mean, it's literally just like a little clip that plays. And yeah, I'm going to give you the links. So please feel free to use them. The link to all of this is in the description below. Please have a look at that where you can get all my data that I've kindly made for you so you can have and you can share with your friends and blah, blah, blah. Just make sure to credit me, okay? Because that's a nice thing to do. Okay, so let's get the link for Inception. I'm just going to get that link here. And then in the thumbnail part, I'm going to just paste it as a string like this. Okay. And then, so we've got all of that. I just need to put value title. Okay. So now I'm just going to add that like so. And there we go. We've added our first movie. Now, like I said, I don't need to sit through all of this. So I'm just going to get all the movies. And I'm just going to paste them in because I pre-made them and there is a lot. So let's get rid of that. I'm going to insert the action movies. Click. So that is how many I have added. Some of them are repeated. I'm going to add the anime movies. So that is now added. Once again, as you can see, there are some repeated. I'm going to add the award-winning movies. I'm going to add the children's movies. By the way, this is just me naming it, just so we can see what is happening. But we don't actually need to. I could do it like that, and it will still add all these movies. So just have a look, and there you go. Okay, so that is just for us. It's just so everything's a bit more readable. But you can just use mutation if you wish. Okay, this will still work because we have arranged our data in such a way when we create each of our movies that it will know to put it in the movies by genre table. Okay, and that is thanks to this right here. And then, of course, we are going to filter them by genre. So I've just added the comedies now. We still have a few to get through. Let's do the documentaries next. So I'm going to add the documentaries. Going to add some dramas. Let's actually we'll just add one drama for now. Let's add some fantasy. I'm going to also add some French films because everyone loves a French film. Amelie is a pretty good one. I'm not going to lie. I've watched it a few times. And then horror, one of my favorite genres. Actually, it's probably more thriller. But, horrors, depending on what kind of horror. Like, if they're too graphic slasher ones, I'm not really into them. If they're more psychological, I think that's like a lot better, right? Everyone likes a psychological horror, psychological thriller. Everyone loves some independent films too. So I put in Entering Red and Ballroom. And I'm going to put in some music ones because, why not? It's our database and we can do whatever we wish. And then, of course, romance, because romance is a very popular one too. So I'm just going to shove in some romance movies. And then I hope you guys appreciate this. Getting this data was quite long, especially in getting all the MP4 files. So if this doesn't get like a retweet or a sub at least, I'll be pretty upset. Okay, so we've got these sci-fi films now. There's a lot of those. And the thriller as well. So I'm just going to put in the thrillers too. I think sci-fi's probably got the most for sure. Again, one of my favorite genres. And thrillers. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now let's actually get the data back right so you can see it. Now, as we are going to be getting the movies by genre, I'm going to show you how to do it in here, and then you can see how we're doing it in our app, okay? Because we're essentially going to be writing the same query just in our app. So I would use query. Once again, you don't have to name it if you don't want. And we're going to get the movies by genre. And then we're going to get the value. Let's get sci-fi, right? So you might see that some of these are sort of like auto-completing for me. This is something that I haven't shown you yet, but I'm going to show you now. It's quite handy. It's quite a cool thing that comes with the playground. So I'm just going to do... Yeah, I'm just going to order it for now. I'm going to show you some other cool stuff that we can do. Order by year descending. So once again, I can use that. And then let's get back. So these are the values that I want to get back in my search. Let's get the year. Let's get the title. Let's get the duration. Let's get the synopsis. And let's get the thumbnail. So if I click search, oops, what have I done here? What's it not liking? Ah, yes. Oops, that should wrap everything in here, sorry. Okay. So there we go. We now get all the movies by genre. We get all the sci-fi movies. We get the year, title, duration, synopsis, thumbnail. If I delete these, say we just want to get them by the value of year, well then that's what we get, okay? Or I can do whatever I want. I could just get the title and duration, for example. So these are the values that I want returned. Cool, right? Now check out these docs because this is really cool. Movies by genre. So that's the query that we are doing. We can also get stuff like page state, which we will go into later as we are going to look at pagination and stuff. And we also can do options. So if I pass through options, this is really handy, the arguments here. We've used value as an argument. I can also use options. And then we need the curly braces. So options, and I could use limit, for example. This is just one of the things I can use. These are one of the things that are to my disposal. So I love these docs. It's really handy and it makes our life so much easier. And it says that I can pass through an integer. So let's just pass through maybe 2. And now let's run it. And there we go. We get the first 2. So that is really cool. I just should have highlighted that earlier. That is something fun that GraphQL Playground gives us. It's all very neat and it makes our lives a lot easier when working with data like this. Okay, so we've got our data in. I think it's now to move on to part 2. Part 2 is going to be where we start building our app and start getting this data into our app so we can use it. And of course, looking at pagination too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is navigate to a directory of my choice. And I'm just going to create a Netflix app using create React app. So sorry, npx create React app. And then let's call it Netflix Datastax. And click enter. So that is all happening now. And Create React Apps is essentially creating a project for us that's configured already to use and has all of the setup you needed to create a React app essentially. We are going to be doing this with Create React App, and we're also going to be using serverless functions in order to get our data. So if you haven't used serverless functions before, Netlify serverless functions to be exact, I do have a separate tutorial specifically on this, but if you follow me step by step, then perhaps you won't need to. So please do follow me, and if you do get really stuck, then use the other tutorial that I talked about. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to probably edit this out because it's taking a while. Okay, and we are done. Let's open up our project. So I'm going to open up using code dot, which is a shortcut I have for VS Code, which would open up my project. Whoops, I need to make sure I'm actually in the project first. So Netflix Datastax clone. Okay, and now code dot. Perfect. So you will see here our project configured thanks to Create React App, which is pretty handy. We have the package.json here, which has all these scripts that we need, as well as the dependencies that came with this. It has some libraries. We're not going to be doing any testing for this project. I'm actually going to delete some of these files just to make our lives a bit easier. I'm going to move that to trash. I'm going to move the web report vitals to trash. We don't need the logo, so I'm just going to delete that too. I'm not going to do testing, so I'm going to delete the app test.js file and then delete the index CSS file. We're going to do all our styling in app CSS. So now, of course, we need to get rid of this. I also don't really like using semicolons in my project, so I'm just going to delete those too. Oops, why did that happen? So those are now gone. We don't have this file anymore. And then in the app JS file, once again, just delete those. We don't have the logo anymore, so delete that, otherwise everything will break. I'm going to keep that so you can see, I guess, what this looks like, but we don't have the logo. And I don't really like using this. I'm using function expression const app. There we go. It's a personal preference. You could have kept it as it is if you wish. And click save. Cool. Okay. So now if I run npm run dev, is it dev? I think it's start. I always get them confused. Start. Npm run start. I've just used the script in order to start my app.
So our Netflix app has evolved over the years, but it's still the basic home screen structure. Hasn't really changed that much. You have a list of lists of movies, and at Netflix, as an engineer, one of the first words you learn and you hear, and you're like, what are they talking about? Is LOLOMO. Everyone's talking about the LOLOMO. And you're like, what in the world is the LOLOMO? It's a list of movies. That's just the Netflix homepage.
So now on localhost 3000, well, there we go. Obviously, I've deleted the logo and the font, so that is what our Create React looks like, and I've also got rid of some styling. But this is just to, show you that it's working. I am now going to get rid of everything else, so I'm just going to delete all of this because for now we don't need it. And I'm just going to put just empty elements like so. And then I'm also going to delete everything in here because I really want to start from scratch. Great. Okay, so the first thing I think we should do is just make sure that we can actually get the data right, because when we have the data, everything should be a lot easier for us. So the first thing that I am going to do is actually use... we're going to use Netlify functions, as I said. So we need to get the Netlify CLI. I'm going to install it globally. For those of you who haven't used it before, Netlify CLI is the thing we are going to need in order to make Netlify serverless functions. So in here, I'm going to start a new tab. I'm just going to install it globally, so that's what the G is for. I'm installing the Netlify command line interface, or CLI, as I like to call it, so I can use the Netlify command line interface. So once again, we need to wait for that to install. Okay, so once that's done, let's just check that has worked. I'm just going to write Netlify, and great, you will see all the commands that we have to our disposal. I'm going to have to use Netlify dev, and this is going to help me inject all the, secrets that we need in order to get our data. So saying that, let's make a .env file in the root of our project, like so. And in here, I'm going to store all my secrets. Okay, so let's get our Cassandra token. Once again, I will be deleting this. Please don't use it. And I'm just going to whack it in here. Now, what should we save this as? Let's save it as Astra token. So we could do it like this. Let's just leave that up here for now. Maybe Astra, just be very explicit, database application token. Astra database application token. Now, so just think of it like all we want to do is communicate with this, right? We just want to send queries to the same thing. So what did we need to do for this? Well, we needed the token and we needed the endpoint. So I'm simply just going to take the endpoint, really. Astra GraphQL endpoint. And paste it. So there we go. Cool. So that is all these secrets that we need. Now let's create our first Netlify function. So once again, in the root of our project, I'm going to call this functions, like so. I'm also going to have to create a Netlify TOML file. Once again, please do refer to my tutorial on Netlify functions. This is essentially just sort of like configuration. So we're going to have to specify command build functions is going to be essentially, this is my functions folder essentially. So what I've named it here, I have to name it here, and then publish. Well, I'm just going to publish it to a directory called build. Okay. So that is everything that we need in here. Make sure to create that in the root of your file. And now we need to create our first function. So I'm going to write a function. Let's call this getGenres.js. This is essentially the syntax for writing a serverless function. You need to write exports handler like so, exports plural. And then it's an async function. I'm just going to do this empty for now because that is fine. We don't need to pass through anything, but essentially you can pass through like event context to pass stuff back and forward from your front end. Let's write our first query. So we know how to do this because we've already written our first query. I'm going to have to write this I'm going to write it like in backticks like so. Const query. And all I'm going to do is remember the last query that we wrote. So we don't want movies, we want to get by genre. The query it looked like this query, and then we can name it. I'm going to name it so we know what we're dealing with. Get all genre, but we don't have to, okay? Like that is just up to you. On how readable you want to make this. And then we need to get by reference list value label genre. Okay. And then let's just, I think that's fine. And then let's just return the value, because that's what we did. So that is our query. If I put this in here and wrote that query and got it, we would get all that. So essentially that's all we're doing. Okay, we're sending this query to this endpoint, but from our project. Okay, it really is that simple. Okay, so now we need to make that query. We need to actually fetch the response. So const response await, and then I'm just going to use fetch. So we need to actually import fetch so we can use it. And then we're going to get the URL, which is our endpoint. So const, just going to tab this out. Const URL equals, and then I'm going to use process env, and what did we call it? Astra GraphQL endpoint. Okay, so that's our URL. So we're going to go to that URL and we're going to get our query. Okay, we're going to pass through the query so it makes it on that endpoint. That's really it. But of course, we need to pass through a lot more information here, like our application token. And we also need to stringify this, okay? So first off, though, let me just import the package. Node fetch is what we need to import. npm I node fetch. Yeah, okay, node fetch. So let that import for now. Great, so now we can use it. Let's just const fetch require node fetch. Why can't I type anything? Node fetch. Okay. So const response equals await fetch. And then, like I said, we need to pass a lot more things in here than just the query. So let's open up our little object. It's going to be a post, okay, because we are posting the query. I'm just going to do a single quote, but do you know what? I'll clean this up later for you. Let's not waste too much time. So it's going to be post, and then in the headers, just like we did in our playground, I'm actually going to put content type. Content type. What's it doing? Application. JSON. And then X, you could just copy it. So I'm just literally going to copy what it says here. Cassandra token, and then process env. And again, what did we call it? Called it this. So I'm just going to post that. Okay. So that's what we need to pass through the headers, and then of course the body is going to be our query, but we're going to use a JSON stringify, okay, because we need to stringify the query. So just like that. Cool. So that is what we need to do, and then I'm just going to use a try so that we can get the response body to await response JSON, and response JSON is going to be assigned to response body, and then we're going to return a status. We're going to actually say the status code is going to be 200, and then the body is just going to be again JSON stringify response body. Cool. So we're going to try that, and we're going to catch any errors. So this is how you would catch the errors. I'm just going to console log the errors. Log E. And then return. Again, we are going to hard code status code 500. Body JSON stringify the errors. Cool. So that's it. We have written our first serverless function. We are just writing a query to get all the genres. Okay, that's all we are doing. Now, in our app.js file, let's try get that information. So up here, all I want to do is fetch the data that comes back from the get genres function. So I'm going to write const fetch data equals, it's going to be an asynchronous function. And then I'm going to, once again, so I'm going to get the response, and I'm going to fetch, and then I need, so if I actually ran this, I should probably show you that first. Let me just console log this out. Now I'm going to stop the app running, Control-C, and this time I'm going to use Netlify dev to start the app, okay? So I've stopped the app, and I'm using Netlify dev in order for it to get going. So as you can see, I've injected the application token, I've injected the endpoint, okay? And now, so let's just open up again. If I visit /.netlify functions, I've obviously used it quite a few times, get genre, enter. Process is not defined. Okay, I've obviously misspelled something. Process. There we go. We have got all our data. So now, of course, all we need to do in the front end is just use this URL to get that data into our front end. So that is what I am doing here, essentially. So fetch, and then I'm just going to actually just copy this because that's all I really care about. Fetch this URL. Okay. And then, no, let's just fetch it for now. We're not going to bother doing anything quite yet. So we're going to fetch that data, and then I'm going to fetch the data, and then we're going to we need to get the response body again. Response body equals await response JSON. Okay, and then once we have it, we just want to set the genres. So I'm going to use state for this. Const genres set genres equals use state, and let's start it off as null. And of course we have to import use state from React. So you've got use state. Now let's set the genres to be the response body. Response body. I think that's what we want to do. Let's actually console log what the response body is. Okay. And then, of course, we need to put them in a use effect. So use effect. Fetch data. Okay, so we've got use effect here. Okay, cool. So I've console logged the response body. Let's go back to localhost 8888. I'm just going to inspect the page to view our console log. So it's no longer on localhost 3000. We're using localhost 888. And okay, that's because fetch data. Let's just put the empty array as a dependency. Otherwise, it's going to keep calling our data. There we go. So our data, great, but we just want the values here. So I'm going to have to put response body data reference list values. So let's do that. Response body data reference list values. Okay. So now if I actually console log this, well, yeah, that's what we want. We want an array of all of these objects. Okay. So perfect, we've got it and we've set it. So now we can use it, it's saved under genres. Cool. So what are we gonna do now? Well, I think we should, okay. Yeah, okay, let's actually map out each row. Let's do that. So I am going to, I guess, create a component. So here I'm going to call this components, and I'm going to call this a section JS. Okay, so const section equals, there we go. And of course we need to export it. So export default section so we can use it. Great. So we've got our section. And for now, I'm just going to return a div. And that div is going to have the section genre. So now if I import it in here, import section from, components section, and now I'm just going to return it like so. What's outside there? Oh, import. Why is that not working? Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I need to put section components in the source directory. I'm going to put it there. Okay. So, great. So now, yes. So now I'm in app.js and I'm going into components and I'm going to section. So that should work. Okay. So there we go. Section genre. I have one section in there, but I want to map out each section based on how many genres we have, right? So what I'm going to do, and I'm also going to pass through the section name. So in here, what I am actually going to do is how should we do this? I guess if genres exist, then we want to we want to essentially map each one out. So if that exists, genres exist, we want to get the genres, we want to get its values, right? So object values of genres, and we're going to map each genre onto the section. I'm going to pass it through the genre value. So each genre's value. So before I do this, okay, it's obviously not liking this already. Object genre. Okay. So once again, if I actually, let's console log this out, or I can just do it here. Console, genres. So here we have our genres. I want to essentially pass this through each time, okay? So that is how I would do it. For each of the genres, I want to get each individual genre or each individual object, and I just want to pass through the genre's value. So this is what I'm passing through. So I guess it's the property name values value, if you want to be precise. Okay. So now I just need to pass through the genre into the section. So I'm going to destructure the prop like so. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the genre, that's fine. And I'm just going to put genre. So now if we click save, ta-da! Easy, right? Please do have a go at this if you need. That is simply how I would map out each of the names onto each of these sections. So we've got each section, right? The next thing I want to do is get the movies for each section or each genre. So now let's go into the section, and we're going to do that in here. Let's actually create our other function while we're here. So yeah, let's do that first. Okay, so this time I'm going to call this function, let's call it getMovies.js. Okay, and I am literally just going to go in here and copy all of this and paste it, because it's pretty much the same. Not really, but it gives us a good sort of like boilerplate and place to start, right? So we're going to have to, again, make a query. So the query we're going to write now is, what's going to be the query to get movie by genre. So the query is movies by genre. And then, well, let's just do sci-fi first, okay? So I'm going to search for sci-fi. And that's going to be it for now. And then I'm just going to return the values of title, just to see what is happening. So essentially, once again, I am just doing it. Oh, oops. Let's go authentication. And make sure that we are in the right endpoint. Argument value with the type. Okay, value. Let's see the docs again. So movies by genre. Values. I can get the genre sci-fi. So it's quite handy probably doing everything in here first. So those are the films that I can get. Great. We can get the title. What else were the values? Year, title. Once again, let's refer to the docs if you wish. Year, title, duration, synopsis, thumbnail. Year, title. I've already forgotten. Duration, synopsis, thumbnail. I think that was it. Okay, so now we'll get all that information. I can, of course, maybe order it as well. So shall we do that? Sure. So make a comma, order by, and then let's put year descending like this. So it actually is already by default, but just so you know. And the one thing that I will actually do when we do the pagination is, shall we do it here? Let's just see if this is working for now, and then I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to paste this query in instead. So that's the query we're going to be making this time. I'm going to keep the rest the same. Save that. And now, if I go to /.netlify functions, get movies. All right, okay, we need to restart the app. So cancel that, Netlify dev. Okay, injecting. Press enter. Okay, so now, great. So that is all the information you need. Great, we're getting all the movies in sci-fi. So once again now, all I'm going to do, let's get rid of some of this stuff. That's our function, great. I haven't styled anything yet, so I don't need it. I'm actually just going to copy most of the stuff I did here. So I'm just going to copy all of that and put it in the section. So once again, we need to import these up here. And this time when we fetch the data, I'm not gonna, well, let's actually just console log what's coming back first. Console log response body. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Oops, we need to get movies. Okay. Okay, cool. So now if we refresh, once again, so it's getting the movies, but it's getting it this many times, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, however many sections there are, that's how many times getting the data, which is fine for now. It's going to give us the sci-fi movies each time, but we're going to change that. So now, great. We're getting all the movies. Fantastic. Sci-fi movies done. Okay, let's actually maybe do a little bit of styling in here, just the smallest amount. So we want to get the response data movies by genre value. So response body data movies by genre value, right? Why is it undefined? Values, sorry. Cool. So that's what we want. It's an array of objects, amazing. And let's set that as set movies. And then pass through. Just pass through that. So that we're going to set that. So now that's going to be set as movies. Const movies set movies. This is me just using use state equals use state, and we're going to start with null. So we've got our movies now. So, okay. We're going to have to do some more mapping. Okay. So we're going to have the genre, and then if movies exist, so let's get our curly braces. So if movies exist, then we want to essentially, we could create a card here. Do we want to create a card? No, let's just make a card in here. So I'm just going to make a div for now. And in this div, we're going to have the title, and then let's have actually, okay, fine. We're going to call it, okay, let's give it a class name because we're going to have to make them appear in line. I'm going to call it a movie section. So it's actually the first styling we've done so far. I'm going to grab it, .movie section, and I'm just going to make it display flex for now so they don't all stack up but they appear in a row. And okay, so if movies exist, we want to show the movie section, and then we're going to grab the movies, we're going to map once again. We're going to map for each movie, and then we're also going to have an index actually. For each movie that exists in our movies array, I am going to... let's just create a card element. It's probably easier. It will be a lot less messy. So in the components, I'm going to just create a card.js file. And once again, const card equals... and then export default card like so. And in here, I'm just going to return, for now, a card. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, and I'm just going to pass through. What should we pass through for each card? Okay, we're going to get the card itself. Let's give it a key of index, and then let's just pass through the whole movie object. Okay, like so, which means that in here I'm going to just destructure the movie, and then in here let's just have like an H2 tag, maybe even smaller. Let's make an H4 tag that has the movie's title, movie duration, and then just a quick MP4 file. So I would do this like so. I'm going to have a video. And the source is going to be source movie thumbnail. And of course it's going to be a video, so I need to say that. Type video MP4 file. Okay. So I think for now this could be fine. Obviously we have a lot of styling to do. Import card from, let's get it from the components. Cool, we're in the components, so that's all we need to do. Okay. And great. So now for action and anime and award-winning and children and family and everything, we have the sci-fi movies. Cool, we're getting somewhere. Now, I just need to make sure that we get the right movies for each section. So I'm going to do so like this. Okay, here's our section. And then to get movies, we're going to have to pass through the genre too, right? So I'm going to have to open this up like so. Method. It's going to be post. And the body, JSON stringify. And I'm going to actually pass through into the body the genre like this. Okay, yeah, that should be fine. So we're going to pass that through into the body, into the get movies serverless function. So now I need to get event here. Okay, and I'm just going to console log event and show you what happens. So now if I just refresh the page, there we go. So this is what is coming back. This is my event. And you will see get movies. Okay. The body, genre, thriller. Okay, so that's what we want. We want to get this word right here. So if I go event body, let's actually make it clearer that this is what is coming back. Once again, we just need to refresh that page. So now event body is genre romance. Great. So obviously if we want to get genre, we would have to go like that. And I'm just going to say this is const genre. We can even actually maybe neaten this up a little bit. So I can go like const body equals. You can use JSON parse event body. So I'm just going to break it up a bit. Event body, so that this means I could just put body genre and I'll get the genre. So we have the genre now, and the next thing, so instead of passing it through here, I'm just going to pass through the genre. So I'm going to do it like this, genre. Will that work? Let's just see. Okay, yeah, I need to wrap this again in JSON stringify. Okay, because we need to stringify it in order for it to work in the query. So there we go. Ta-da! So now for action, I'm actually getting action films. This is pretty epic. For award-winning, I'm getting the award-winning films for children and so on and so on. And I'm actually getting the right films. This is great, okay? This is so good and exactly where I want to be. So I'm passing through the genre from the front end to my function by using event, okay? So I'm passing it through body to body, I guess. Body to event. Yeah. Nice. So let's just get rid of... no, we don't need to get rid of that. Let's keep everything as it is. Cool. So we've got that. The last thing I want to show you before styling this up is how I would do pagination and how I would essentially get... So say we only want like 4... let's say we only want 4 genres to load and I want the rest to load if I put my, I guess, cursor at the bottom of the page. So I would do so like this. What should we do first? Let's do the pagination first. So let's go back to the section in here and just like we did in the playground, so get movies by genre. So now I'm going to go back to the dots and you remember when we had options here? Well, I'm going to want to get the page size and the page state. So right here or wherever really, I could just go options and then page size. And let's say I want the page size to come back with 2. Well, I would simply do that. I can get 2. But then say the first page comes back with these 2. How do I get the next 2? Well, I could use page state to help me with this. So I'm just going to put page state here and click there. So now we have the next page's state. Okay, so Okra and Upgrade are my 2 films that come back on page 1. And if I now put page state and use this sort of ID, if you will, I get the next 2. And to get the next 2, well, I just use this.
So pagination on the LOLOMO is really important at Netflix. You might be watching Netflix on your phone or your TV and your laptop, and these are all very different. The UI has different needs. On your phone, you only see a few movies at a time in your home screen. Whereas, and if you open up Netflix on your laptop, you might see a whole lot. Also, your internet connection on your phone probably isn't going to be as stable as the broadband connection that your TV might be plugged into. So, pagination allows us to be flexible for these different UIs that you might be using, and so you can fetch from the device. You can get just a few movies at first, like just the initial screen. And then you can load as the user starts to scroll around. You can load the ends of the rows. You can load the movies that are down at the bottom of the page later.
So it really is that easy. And we're going to use this in our query. So back in the Get Movies query, right under here, options, I'm going to put page size and let's say 6. And for now, I'm just going to put page state like so. So let's see if that works. Let's go back here. And we should only get 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now I'm going to have a button here. Perhaps let's maybe make these a little bit smaller because they're not very easy to work with at the moment. So let's just do that now. Movie section, card. And let's maybe style the card. I'm just going to put class name card for now. I've got card and put width 100 pixels. Okay, just for now. And then, of course, the video itself with 100%. Okay. So I'm just going to put a quick button here in order for us to get the next 6 and the next 6 and next 6 from now on. I'm aware this looks horrible, but I want to get all the heavy lifting out the way first before we start styling. So back in this section, I'm literally just going to make a div that says, so a div, and I'll give it the class name of more button. And for now, once again, I'm just going to make it look horrible. More button, width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, background color red. Okay, so there's our button. If I click this, I want to get the next 6. So in our section, well, I need to figure out a way to get the next page state, right? So how are we going to do this? In the fetch data, when I get the movie genre, I need to set the page state. Okay, so I'm going to get the page state, const page state, set page state equals use state. I'm going to start with null because we don't have one yet. We started with null when we made the query. So we've got that. And then I'm just going to, we don't need that now. Once again, I'm just going to console log the response body, right? Just so we can see what is happening. Oops, response body. Okay, so here we go. Here's our data. The movie genre, page state. So that is the next page state. So I need to go data, movies by genre, page state. Data, movies by genre. Page state. So that is going to be our next page state. Once again, if we refresh here, some of them have them, some of them don't, because some of them don't have more than 6 movies in the section. But that's fine. Okay, so we have some for each of those sections. So once again, I need to set page genre and I'm literally just gonna get this. So now I'm setting the page genre. If I console log the page state, oops, why did I say that? Set page state, set page state. So now if I console log page state, I should get the page state. And what I can do is essentially say, so we've got our page state. Great. Now we want to get the next page state if we click the button, right? So on the more button, on click, oops, I need to do that in the first tag. Let's actually make this, let's just leave it for now. Okay, actually. Okay, on click, well, if we click it, I want to do a few things, right? I want to set the page state again to page state. So if I click it again, I'm going to set the page state, which is then going to set it here, which is then going to send it on here. Yeah, so page state, page state. Okay. So we've got a page state at the moment. We click it, we want to set it up here so it sends it, and then we want to fetch the data again to get the next two. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. This means that now in the get movies, as well as getting the genre, we're getting a page state, so body page state, and we need to put it here, just like we were doing in the query. Remember, we were just copy pasting the next one. That's exactly what we are doing here. So JSON stringify page state. Okay. Just going to check it out. Click. Great. So we're getting the next 6. Click. Well, there's no more to get. Click. 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 Awesome. Okay. Let's do the loading more genres first. When we put our button here, I wanted to know the next 4 and next 4, but not get rid of the others. Okay, so it's not going to be pagination. We're simply going to be changing the limit this time. So if you remember, this time, let's go to our app.js. And of course, we are getting the genres by passing through this query. So I'm just going to show you in the playground again. Query get all references. I only want 4, so I can do it by writing options. If you want to refer to the docs, that's fine. I'm not going to, or maybe I will actually. Options, just to be sure. Options limit. So that is what we want to use. Options limit. Let's say 4. So I only want 4. So now I want to actually update this limit to be 4, 8, 12. And so on. So let's actually just copy that. Great. So just like we did last time, we're going to have to change this limit. So back in our app.js file, once again, what I'm going to do is actually const increment count. Or just increment genre increment. Is it an increment? Increment. I'm just going to save it as that anyway. Genre increment, and let's say 4. And then I'm actually going to, so we've got this, and then I'm going to create another div here. So let's just check that to work. Actually, we should only get 4. So we're getting 4. Now I'm going to create a div at the end here. So div, give it the class name of page, and for now. And then again in my styling, width is going to be 100%. Height is going to be, 300 pixels. I'm going to give it a background color blue so we can see what we are doing. So there we go. Now, get genres. No, app.js. So now, if I'm going to make this self-closing, I'm going to use on mouse enter this time. So on mouse enter. And once again, on mouse enter, I want to set limit. So I'm going to use state again, const limit, set limit. And of course, we let's use state genre increment, because obviously we know that is 4. On mouse enter, we want to set limit to whatever limit is plus the genre increment. Okay. So we're going to set that. Let's just console log limit for now. See if it works. All right. Oops. That's true. Let's put that up here. Okay, so each time I hover my mouse over, it's indeed going up by 4. Pretty cool. So now we need to actually apply it and send that over. So let's again, I'm going to have to send that over as the body. So method is going to be post and then body. Go away. Body. This time I'm just going to send over the limit like this, not the bossy body. So I'm just going to send that over to the get genres. So event, and once again, const, we should call it limit equals JSON parse event body. So now that we have the limit, I can simply replace it here, making sure to use JSON stringify, because as we know from before, we need to do that, otherwise it won't work. Okay, let's try. So now, got 4. Okay, that's not working. Why is that not working? Okay, we are passing it through. In app.js, passing it through. Okay, so setting the limit. We need to fetch the data every time limit changes. Okay, there we go. We've done it. Okay, so we've got 8 now. Got 12 now. Got 16 now. Got 20 now. And of course, it's going to keep incrementing, but we've run out of genres. But that is pretty cool. Check it out again. That was maybe a bit too fast. I think I've made this too big. But we've got 4. We now have 8. We now have 12. We now have 16. We now have 20. Ta-da! Cool. Well, this is looking good. And of course, if I click here, we're getting more and more, and we are getting, we are looping. We are looping, we're getting more, and so on. Okay, so we have now essentially done all the heavy lifting of our app. We have done pagination. We've figured out a way to load more and more genres on our page. Let's get to styling it up. Cool. Okay, so we've got our genres here. The first thing that I probably want to do is we're going to have a NavBar, we're going to have a HeroSection, but just in here. So actually, let's maybe create that. NavBar HeroSection, because I definitely know I want those 2 components there. So let's make them components NavBar.js, and then again, what was it? HeroSection.js. So const HeroSection, and then I'm just gonna return something generic for now. So return just nothing, like so. And export default HeroSection. Okay, so there we go. There's one, and the NavBar, and then I'm just going to use Command D to change this to NavBar. NavBar. like so. And of course, I'm going to import each one of those. Import, Command D, HeroSection, and then Command D, NavBar 2. NavBar, HeroSection. Great. So we've got those in there. We then also have the genres, which are going to spin up a... let's actually put these in a container. I think that would probably make the most sense. So I'm going to just put div class name container. I'm just going to whack that inside here. Okay, now inside the section, I'm actually going to change this to an H2 tag, which I'm also going to give it an ID of genre, because I want to actually be able to navigate to each section if I wish by the header. And then movie section, cool. We have also a more button, which I'm going to style again more probably appropriately. And then we have our card, in which we have, let's style this up maybe a little bit more. So we've got the video. I'm going to give the video the class name of video 2, just like that. And then on the video itself, so yeah, this is maybe not the source. I want to put that on the video itself. Video class name video. I'm also going to put controls so we can control the video, and autoplay true so that it starts playing automatically. But we only want that if we hover over it. So maybe let's leave it for now, and then let's make it loop again. Maybe let's have that later on when we hover over it. So that is everything we need. Let's maybe do some styling now. So as you can see, each of them have controls now. Let's go to our CSS file. So the first thing we want to do is perhaps give our body the same color as Netflix house. So I'm going to use background color. I'm just going to make it like a really dark color. That's quite a dark one, and make sure that all the font is white. So color white, or if we want to make everything consistent, 1, 2, 3, it's fine. We just need 3. Now font family. I'm just going to use Helvetica, but please feel free to use like whatever you wish. Of course, Helvetica New. I quite like that one. So that is what I'm going to use. So now if we go look at the body, at least that's looking a little bit better. Now let's actually style each container, okay? And I'm just going to give it a margin of 0.50 pixels. Margin. Okay, it's looking a little bit better. Margin. Let's style the card more a little bit. So let's make the card width 230 pixels. I'm going to give each of them a border radius of 5 pixels too. And let's say a margin of 2 pixels to space them out a tiny bit. And then I'm also going to give them a transition. So this is me actually making our cards, I guess, expand. Transition. Transform 500. Position. Relative. Display. Oops. Display. Block. Cool. So already that's looking much nicer. Now, if I want to get rid of the controls on the video themselves, what I can do, wait, let's give this border radius to border radius 5 pixels. I can do this. I can get the video and I can use media controls in order to not show the controls at all, because we had to put controls on we just had to, otherwise the video wouldn't work. But we can actually hide the controls now using display none. Okay, so as you can see, the controls are now gone. Now let's get to making the movies actually stick out a little bit when we hover over them. So I'm going to go into the movie section, and then when the movie section on focus, I'm going to get the card. So any card in the movie section, and also we're going to get the movie section on hover. Then we need to affect the card. We want to transform the card. So if we're on focus of the movie section, okay, we want the card to translate -25%. And then let's also give it a Z index of 1 so it sticks out. Okay, and then I'm also going to add card focus. Card hover. So this is all stuff to essentially make the movie cards, you know, like stick out when you hover over them, and so on. Transform, translate. X 25%. So already you'll see they are spacing out. We just need them to get bigger now. And I could do that by grabbing the movie section card focus, and then movie section. We don't really have to, I mean, we're only using the card in one place. So maybe some of this is overkill, but hey, it's good to, I guess, just foolproof it, right? Transform. And this is where we make it scale up by 1.5. So we're now increasing its size by 1.5. And also giving it a Z index of 1 so it sticks out. So now you'll see the movie's increasing in size. They're great. Cool. So this is looking good. The next thing I want to do is actually hide all this information and only show it on hover, and also add in hero image and style the button, right? So that is looking good. Let's actually change the more button. I'm just simply going to give it a height of 100%. Display flex. Give it some padding too. I'm going to put a icon in it, okay? So I already have an icon that I use quite often, and that's what I'm going to use today. So I actually could just cut this out and just do that. Border radius 0, 10 pixels, 10 pixels, 0. Cool. So So we've got our more button, and if we hover over the more button, I think let's change its color. So more button, hover. Let's make it background color, RGB 255, 255, 255, 0.5. Great. So now, oh, there it is. Okay, so we need to obviously style this maybe a little bit further. Let's do the more information thing that I was talking about. So back in the card, I'm actually going to use state for this as well. So I'm going to import use state from React, and then const is shown, or set is shown. So that's what I'm going to use to essentially figure out if we're hovering, if what we want to show on hover. I'm going to set it to false. Use state is false at the beginning from React. Use state from React. Okay. Now, on the card, once again, on mouse enter, I just want to set is shown as true, but on mouse leave, I want to set is shown as false. So it really is that easy on mouse leave. And then I'm actually just going to create two different components. Okay, so let's get rid of this. So that is the div, and I'm going to wrap this first one. If is shown, then I want to show this video. Okay, so really simple, just the thumbnail. And then, however, if it's not shown, so if it's not meant to be shown, actually no, if it's not shown, I obviously want to show the stripped down one, but if it is shown, so if I'm hovering over it, well then I want autoplay to be true. So I want it to start playing, and I also want it to loop, to keep looping the movie. I also want to show an information box. So perhaps let's maybe put this in a wrapper, another wrapper, just to finish that off. And then of course I need to format all of this, but I will do that at the very end, really. Okay, so I'm going to also have a div with an information box. Oops. Let's say class name info box, we will call it. Okay. So there's our info box. And when we hover over it, well, I'm just going to have the movie title. I'm not going to have the synopsis. You can, of course, if you want. I'm just going to have the movie duration 2. So that'll be in minutes. Let's just leave it. Let's just have the movie title. Of course, you are free to take this project and improve on it. You have all the data at your disposal. You can even have a click through where you see more information of the movie if you wish. So let's check that out. Okay, cool. So now if I hover over it, I'm seeing the title as well. Otherwise, I don't see the title. Yay! So this is looking great, and we have the button here, of course, too. I'm definitely going to have to do some more styling because there's a lot of work to do. So more button. Let's give it a height. We have given it a height of 100%. Okay, let's carry on. So now that we have that, let's actually style more stuff up. So I'm also going to make a hero section, if you remember. In here, in my return, well, I just want to get one movie, really. I think I'm just going to hard code one movie. So let's actually make it a random movie. I think that'd be more fun. So I'm just going to use the get movies by genre query. Or just the get movies query. So where do we do that? Well, we do it in the section. So I'm just going to, once again, just copy all of this. Go to the hero section and just paste it like so. Once again, I'm making sure to import use state and use effect from React. Okay, so this time we want to just get let's just say we want to get a random movie. It means that we don't actually need to pass through a genre. I'm just going to hard code it as sci-fi, okay? That is the movie that I want to get. We are going to, again, wait for the movie. We're going to set the movie. We don't need this. And in fact, I'm just going to get a random movie from these. So instead of just sending the movie here, I'm going to get const movies equals this. And instead, I'm going to get the movie's length and pass it through. Use math random to multiply the movie's length to get a random number that is anywhere between the array movie's length, and I'm going to wrap it in math floor to round it down so we get a full integer. Okay, so we're now getting a full integer, and then I need to get my movies array and pass through that random integer in order to get a random film from our array. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I think it should, right? If it doesn't, let me know and I could do an explainer. But this is essentially just a random number. All of that is either a 0, a 1, or 2, or 3, depending on how many movies we have in our movies array. And I am passing that back through the movies array in these square brackets to get a random movie from our sci-fi films. Okay, so now if we get movie, set movie, I'm going to call this set movie because, we're just setting one. Equal use state. We're of course starting with null. We don't really need page state here, so maybe I'll just const page state equals null. Let's see if that will. Well, that wouldn't really work if I was passing it through. You know what? I'm just going to set it anyway. Set page state. Even though this is sort of redundant, I shouldn't really be doing this. Okay. I think, no, I'm just going to set it as null. Whatever. I'm sure this will work. Great. So we're getting a random movie. Yeah. Now, if the movie exists, then we want to, let's make this class name of hero so we can style up the hero movie. And then in here, once again, what do we want to do here? Well, I think, why has it done that? Got a video. And then the video, let's give this a class name of hero video so we can style it up. Let's make it muted. Obviously, we have to pass through controls and autoplay true because the movie on Netflix does start autoplaying. So autoplay true. And again, let's make it loop. And the source for this is going to be, well, the movie thumbnail. Okay. And we just need to give a type video MP4. Okay. Oops. Should we have a look? Great. So there's a random movie from sci-fi. There's another random movie from sci-fi. Another random movie from sci-fi. Should we do action? Let's change the genre. Action. There's a random movie. There's a random movie. And so on. I prefer sci-fi though, just because I've actually formatted them a bit better. Sci-fi. Cool. Great. Now let's get some writing on top of it. Fun. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So we've got our video, and under the video, so just here, I'm going to make a div that we're going to hold our, the overlay of the information. So info section, I'm going to call it. And in it, well, I'm going to have the, let's call this hero blurb, class name, hero blurb. And the hero blurb is going to have the movie synopsis. Okay, so we're going to have that. And we're going to have another div that I'm going to call the class name button section. And in the button section, we are going to have a play button. Class name. So it's going to be a button, but I'm also going to give it the class of play. So that's two classes there. And then a button with the class of more. Okay, like that. So that's two class names in one. Two for the price of one. The play button, I'm actually going to give it a span. Oops. Because I want to use an icon in here. And the word play essentially. And it's the same for the more button. So more will just have the word more info. Like that. Cool. So we need to obviously start that up so it appears in here. Shall we do that now? I'm actually going to do the NavBar as well. Just put all the information we need in the NavBar first before carrying on. The NavBar is going to be super easy. That's why I wanted to do it. I'm going to give this the div the class name of NavBar, like that. And in it, I'm going to have an unordered list with list items. So the first one is going to be the logo. The second one is going to be the homepage. So it's going to have an href. I should probably use link, but whatever. Great. So that's all we really need for the NavBar. Let's finish our styling, shall we? So we've got our container. Let's do our NavBar. height of, let's say, 50 pixels, a width of 100%, position sticky because we always want it to be at the top, and top 0. Next, let's do the HeroSection. So the HeroSection, again, I want to have width 100%. Let's give it a margin top of minus 100 pixels, and then I'm just going to give it padding 0, like that. So that's what it should look like now. And now let's start the info section. That's meant to go over the hero image. So .info section. Position, I'm going to have to give it a position absolute. And then margin top. I'm just going to put 30% of whatever the parent is. Margin let's put 50 pixels from it and the parent's left, and give it an overall width of, I don't know, 600 pixels, let's say. So now got the movie section. Let's make the button section. Display flex. And the button, so anything with the class of button, there was 2 buttons, each shared this class. I'm going to give it a border radius 10 pixels. A background color of 1, 2, 3, just for now. Let's make the writing black, and let's give it a padding of 10 at the top and 20 at the sides and 10 at the bottom, and margin 3 pixels. Now, if it's a play button, well, yeah, let's keep the background color white. But if it's a more info button, I want it to give it a background color that is slightly different. So this is the color that we got from, I lifted this from the site itself. It's like a transparent color, essentially. So now in the hero section, if it's got a more, oh, it's just more, is it? Okay, more. And it's going to look like that. Okay, great. So we've done that. We have our card, we have our videos, we have our hero video. So let's do our hero video. Hero video. This could explain why. Width 100%. Float. Left. Top 0. Padding none. I forgot about The hero video. Okay, so now that looks better. And actually, if this would make sense to make it around 30%. And then I actually want to move the hero section. So margin top 100 pixels. So I want it to be all the way up because I want the navbar to go over it. Okay, now let's do the navbar, right? So let's get the unordered list. Let's just give it display flex list style. I'm going to say none. And then let's get the list items. Each list item, well, I'm just going to give it maybe like a little bit of margin. Okay, so none from the top and 10 pixels from the side and none at the bottom. That's the shorthand for writing that. So now, okay, that looks a lot better. And then we just need a title, so the logo, sorry. So I can do that easily. I'm just going to actually get the info box itself. So where's the info box? We're going to style the info box. We haven't styled the info box. So let's do that maybe now. So the info box is basically what stores the information for the movie title when we hover over a movie card. And well, I want this to perhaps be 100%. Let's give it a padding though of 10 pixels. And then a background color that's the same as the background color of the page, just in case there's like a movie or something under it. And I'm also going to give it a box shadow. So I've just literally taken that from the internet. Is that even being applied? Where's the card? Info box. Okay, so it's not even being applied. There we go, info box. Okay, so now you can see a little bit more of a box shadow, but please, like I said, feel free to mess around with these if you wish. Okay, so that's a lot darker. I think I prefer that one. It also needs a Z index. So let's give it a Z index to make sure that it's always, I guess, in front of everything. Z index 5, because I think we've got a lot of Z indexes 1 now. And finally, let's add the logo and the icons. So I'm going to do this in the public directory in the index.html file under the meta. I'm just going to stick my script for Font Awesome. Please feel free to get your own. Font Awesome is amazing. You can have so many icons. So this is what it looks like. You just need to sign up and it is for free. I already have my icons that I want to take. So I've got a play icon. So I'm going to use this one right here. And all I need to do is start using this icon and simply copy this like so. And then in the, let's go into the main section, so the hero section. I'm simply just going to paste it here and change this to be class name. Like so. So now, there we go. We get a little icon. That is pretty fun. You can, of course, add way more icons. I'm going to do that too. I think I'm going to have a more info icon. So, more info. Oops. We'll just put info. And I quite like that one. So that's the one I'm going to use. Start using this icon. Copy this once again. And just stick it in my project. It really is that easy. So once again, there we go. Again, like, please feel free to style these out a bit. I will. Let's grab it by this. Once again, I'm just going to go here and right here, probably just there. I'm going to give it a margin, nothing from the top, maybe like 3 pixels from each side, and nothing from the bottom. I think that should be fine. You can even do a little bit more, I reckon, maybe like 5. Cool, and I think that's looking better. And let's just get rid of the styling. So we need to put text decoration none. And let's just make it white. Like so. So now here, I am going to, once again, get the logo. And I'm going to use background image. I'm going to use the URL of... Now, with our logo, I've actually saved it again to my imager just to keep everything in one place, really. So if I go here, I'm just going to copy the link here and then paste it like so. Okay, so there we have it. I'm also going to put background size 88 pixels. Let's give it some margin because I love giving things margin. And of course, maybe let's set its width to 88 pixels too. So there we go. We also have to give it a height, of course. Width, height, 22. An absolute, actually. Let's just carry on styling this for now. So we've got the info section. Maybe leave that for now. Okay, and there we have it. We have finished our Netflix clone. I mean, it looks great. Please feel free to style this much more than I have. I didn't want this to be all about the styling. I wanted you to be able to, be able to create a project using Datastax, using GraphQL, learn how to do pagination, learn how to, set new limits and pass them through into your GraphQL queries. So I hope you have learned that. Please do take these projects, apply this knowledge that you have learned in this video to anything really that you wish. That is totally up to you. I would absolutely love if you can share the final thing with me. Please share your Netflix clones, or please show me what you have built using this knowledge as well. I would absolutely love to see. Thanks so much again for coding with me, and I hope to see you soon. Okay, everyone. Thanks again, and bye.